If you have any interest at all about getting a better understanding of what's going on with immigration bills in general, then please just take the time to watch this, especially if you want to leave a comment whether you agree or disagree. Just I want you to understand the context that I'm putting things in, and I want to give you an idea of where it's at. The video, the reason that I'm making this is because when I've looked at all of the comments over the past few videos that I've put up, there seems to be, I guess, what's expected, which is whether or not it's a Democrat or a Republican, they're making very valid points in terms of positions on policy. But what's gotten also to the point is that our level of toxicity has reached a level where no matter what our position is, the other side is wrong no matter what. And in particular, this is regarding the position that Democrats take. Okay. Now I will concede from right now. I'll concede from right now that Republicans have caused problems with the ability of our country as a whole to pass immigration reform. I concede that. I don't need to go out of my way. I don't want to spend time exploring that. I concede it from now. I admit it and I acknowledge it, and I think the Republican Party should take responsibility for that. I'm referring specifically to Democrats because from what I've seen in the comments and from what I've seen in the media, there tends to be this impression that Republicans are to blame. They are for many things. But the Democrats are the ones that are trying to pass the bills, and no matter what, Republicans are the reason that there's a problem. Okay? And it's a lot more complicated than that. Because while that may happen, there are cases where there are Democrats who are standing in the way of real immigration reform. I'll give one quick example of a Republican just putting up a blocker that doesn't need to exist and is stopping us being able to make progress. I took a few notes. I want to make sure that I get it right, so I'm just going to read directly from it. This example is Wesley Hunt. He's from Texas, the 38th district. He recently said, I believe over the past day or two from when I copied it, until there is 900 miles of border wall and not a cent more, any border security bill is dead on arrival. Okay? That's crazy that the condition has become border security bills are automatically dead if the conditions of other said facts are not in place. Okay, that's problematic. So that's just the one example I'll give. There are more. There are more. So I don't think Republicans should be in a place where we are blaming the Democrats, even though I myself stand somewhere between Republican and mostly independent. Here are the case with the Democrats, okay? Now, last year, a bill was introduced, a bipartisan bill, and this bill was sponsored by 22 Democrats and 8 Republicans, okay? Yes, 8 Republicans is less than the Democrats. My point, though, is that it's bipartisan, okay? Now, this bill increased the amount of funding, increased the personnel for border security, right? Each side says that the other doesn't want border security. Nonsense. That's not true. That's not what it is. This bipartisan bill increased the amount of border security and border funding that there was, okay? So sponsored by Democrats, sponsored by Republicans, bipartisanship, working together on this bill. Here's the thing, though. Only 8 Republicans participated in that. Only 22 Democrats. Are the 22 Democrats more? Sure. Sure, no problem. They're bigger. But compared to how many there are from each party, 22 and 8 are both insignificant relative to the level of complaining that we do, that there is no bipartisan support on this issue. Right? So if only 22 Democrats are doing it, what's going on with the rest? Well, I want to give you a specific example, a very, very specific example of 10 Democratic senators. I'll tell you the names and I'll give you the quote that I have. So give me a second. Let me also make sure that I read this correctly. I'll start off with the list of senators, Democratic senators, who are in opposition of any bill that doesn't include other factors, which I'll tell you right afterwards in the quote. Here are the Democrats. These are, I believe I wrote down 9 of the 10, so you'll forgive me for that. But here are 9 of them. Senator Alex Padilla of California, Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey, Senator Mazie Hirono from Hawaii, Senator Ben Ray Lujan from New Mexico, Senator Ed Markey from Massachusetts, Bob Menendez from New Jersey, Jeff Merkley from Oregon, and Elizabeth Warren also from Massachusetts. Okay, so these are multiple senators that play big roles in immigration reform and are influential in the ability for us to pass it, but are standing in the way. Now, whether or not they have good reasons and the attachments that they want to have, I'm not debating that. We should have other laws that need to be passed for comprehensive immigration reform. My issue here, the point that I'm making, is that it's not simply because we don't have bipartisan agreement. It's not because of Republicans. It's not because of Democrats. It's because each side is putting conditions that is stopping the progress of one of these issues at a time. We're not going to be able to tackle some sort of super comprehensive immigration reform. That's a political talking point. It divides us and it's impossible. We need to tackle one issue at a time, and neither side has introduced a bill that deals with one specific issue that is absent other attachments. Here's the quote that I have from the Democratic senators, and it's regarding securing the border. That securing the border without increasing lawful pathways to migration and legalizing long-term undocumented immigrants. Is there merit in that? Yes, we need a pathway. In my opinion, I stand with we need a pathway to legalizing citizenship for people that have been here long term. A controversial point? Sure, maybe. Why not? But that's not the point. The point is whether or not we stand with that position or a variation of it, that is getting in the way of actually moving forward on immigration reform, because we are making conditional one part of a bill on every other part of the bill, and that is problematic. So I want to close with this, right? So when I talk about that, the new politician, one of the goals, one of the methods by which I am hoping that we as a community can begin to influence change is the idea of having civil political discourse. Now, when I say civil political discourse, I want to make a point here, because this is not just about the idea of being nice. This is not about the idea of sugarcoating. We shouldn't sugarcoat our message. There is a way to say what needs to be said without sugarcoating the message. We can stay civil. But here's the other part. In order for us to have solutions, a prerequisite of that is that we be able to talk to each other. If we cannot talk to each other, we can't have solutions. We just can't. And in order to talk to each other, we have to be able to talk to each other with respect. I'll leave it there. Appreciate you watching. Have a good one.